Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to be taking a deep dive into something I think you're going to find pretty interesting.
Yeah.
The digital economy.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, how it's all playing out over in Japan.
Right.
We've got a whole stack of research here to dig into,
Yeah.
including some really cool insights from the Yildiz Social Science Review.
It's a really interesting case study.
Yeah.
You've got this nation that is known for its technological advancement,
Right.
but is also facing some pretty significant economic headwinds.
Exactly.
You know?
Japan's grappling with this aging population,
Mm-hmm.
slow economic growth,
Yeah.
lagging productivity.
Mm-hmm.
So the question becomes, can they actually leverage technology to overcome these challenges?
And that's where things get really fascinating.
Okay.
Because you might think of Japan as this tech leader,
Yeah.
and they are in many ways,
Right.
but their overall rate of technological advancement has actually been slowing down.
Oh, wow.
Even tech giants there have to constantly innovate to stay ahead.
That's surprising.
It makes you wonder what's holding them back.
Right.
Well, in this deep dive, we're going to explore those forces that are shaping Japan's digital economy.
Yes.
We'll look at the obstacles they face,
Mm-hmm.
potential solutions,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully end with some thought-provoking questions for you to consider.
We'll try to connect the dots between the research and the bigger picture.
Okay.
So you can understand not just what's happening, but why it matters.
All right.
You know?
Let's unpack this.
Yeah.
First, we need to define what we mean by digital economy.
Right.
Our research defines this as economic activities that rely heavily on digital technologies.
Yeah.
This covers everything from e-commerce to cloud services and digital content creation.
It's a shift that's impacting businesses globally, from small startups to multinational corporations.
Right.
You know, it's about using digital tools to open up new markets, to analyze consumer behavior,
Uh-huh.
and ultimately to become more efficient and competitive. So instead of relying solely on those traditional methods, businesses can leverage data and digital platforms
Right.
to gain a deeper understanding of their customers
Mm.
and tailor their products and services accordingly.
Exactly.
Okay.
But this shift to a digital economy,
Yeah.
it doesn't happen in a vacuum.
Right.
It's deeply intertwined with the nation's overall economic landscape.
Which brings us to Japan's unique situation.
Yes.
I mean, they've got this reputation for technological prowess. I mean,
Mhm.
who isn't fascinated by Japanese robots?
Yeah.
But as we mentioned earlier, they've also been facing some economic headwinds.
And these challenges are pretty significant.
Okay.
Japan's population is aging rapidly, which means fewer people in the workforce.
Mm-hmm.
This contributes to slow economic growth and makes it even harder to increase worker productivity.
So it's like they're trying to run a race with a weighted backpack.
Yeah.
Do you think the digital economy could be the key to lightening that load?
That's what many experts believe.
Okay.
The idea is that by embracing the digital economy, Japan can potentially overcome those demographic challenges and boost productivity.
Mm-hmm.
It's about working smarter, not harder, and using technology to do more with less.
Makes sense. But we can't forget that Japan's rate of technological advancement has been slowing down.
Right.
The research actually cites the country's declining global innovation index ranking as evidence of this trend.
Right. And this slowdown highlights a crucial point.
Okay.
Even a nation with a history of technological leadership
Yeah.
can't afford to rest on its laurels.
Right.
To succeed in the digital economy, you need constant innovation and adaptation.
And that's a lesson that applies not just to Japan, but to businesses and individuals all around the world.
Absolutely. Now, one event that really exposed Japan's need to accelerate its digital transformation was the COVID-19 pandemic.
Oh, yes, the global pandemic.
Yeah,
That forced everyone to rethink how we work, learn, and interact.
exactly. And for Japan, it highlighted some weaknesses in their digital infrastructure, particularly when it came to remote work capabilities.
Many businesses struggled to adapt to remote work
Yeah,
because they simply weren't equipped with the necessary technology or digital workflows.
right.
It was a wake-up call for many organizations.
It underscored the need to embrace digital solutions for greater resilience in the face of unexpected disruptions.
Yeah.
This is where the conversation about Japan's digital future starts to get really interesting.
Okay.
Because despite these challenges, the country has a lot of potential.
They're not starting from scratch, are they?
Not at all. Japan has a strong foundation to build upon,
Uh-huh.
especially in areas like robotics and automation.
Right.
The Yale Does Social Science Review actually highlights this,
Okay.
emphasizing how prevalent robots are in various Japanese industries.
It's true. You see robots everywhere in Japan,
Yeah,
from restaurants and hotels to elder care facilities.
it's not just a gimmick either.
Yeah.
These robots are designed to solve real-world problems. For example, in the elder care sector, they can assist with tasks like lifting patients
Mhm.
or providing companionship,
Yeah.
freeing up human caregivers to focus on more complex needs.
There's even that story in the research about a sushi restaurant chain using cutting-edge technology.
Oh, yeah.
They're using robots to prepare sushi and have implemented a system where customers order via touch panels, streamlining the entire dining experience.
What's interesting about that example is that it shows how technology can be seamlessly integrated into traditional industries.
Right?
It's not just about replacing humans, it's about finding ways to enhance efficiency
Yeah.
and even improve the customer experience.
Right, and it shows how Japan can leverage its existing strengths in technology to tackle its current economic challenges.
Uh-huh.
So they have the talent, they have the technology.
Yeah.
What else is needed?
Well, one key factor is strategic investment.
Okay.
Japan needs to allocate resources to both digital infrastructure and human capital development.
Right.
They need to build the networks and train the workforce to thrive in a digital world.
So it's a two-pronged approach.
Yeah,
Creating the right environment and equipping people with the skills to succeed.
precisely. But here's where things get even more nuanced.
Oh.
The research points out that the digital economy isn't playing out uniformly across Japan.
Okay.
There are significant regional variations.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all situation.
Right.
Do tell,
Yeah.
what kind of differences are we talking about?
The study focuses on the contrast between the northern and western regions of Japan.
Okay.
In the north, there seems to be a strong correlation between the development of the digital economy and the modernization of the industrial structure.
Uh-huh.
It's like a positive feedback loop, where the digital economy is driving positive changes in the region's industries.
So the North seems to be embracing the digital transformation.
Yeah,
What about the West?
the West is a different story.
Hmm.
They're showing a different pattern,
Okay.
which highlights the complexity of the Japanese economy.
Intriguing. Why do you think that is?
Well, that's a question we'll explore in the next part of our deep dive.
I'm hooked already, but before we move on, I'm curious what stands out to you so far from what we've discussed.
For me, what's really fascinating is this contrast between Japan's historical strength in technology
Mm-hmm.
and its recent slowdown in innovation.
Yeah.
It raises some important questions about what it takes to succeed in the digital economy
Right.
and suggests that even technological giants need to constantly adapt and evolve to stay ahead.
That's a great takeaway. It's a reminder that we're all in this together,
Yeah,
constantly learning and adapting to the ever-changing digital landscape.
exactly. And speaking of learning, I'm going to leave you with a thought-provoking question to ponder
Oh, okay.
as we move to the next part of our deep dive.
Ooh, I love a good brain teaser. Lay it on us.
The research highlighted these regional variations in Japan.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about the why,
Okay.
but for now, think about what else might be contributing to these differences
Yeah.
beyond just geography. What other factors might influence how a region embraces or resists the digital economy?
Okay, listeners, that's something to mull over. We'll be back after a quick word from our sponsors.
That's good.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Before the break, we were teasing out those regional differences in how Japan is experiencing the digital economy.
Right. And I'm sure you've had a moment to consider those other factors beyond just geography that might be at play.
It definitely got me thinking.
Yeah.
But before we dive into that, I think it's helpful to zoom out and look at the historical context of Japan's economic situation.
Excellent point.
Yeah,
The current digital transformation isn't happening in a vacuum.
right.
It's unfolding against this backdrop of Japan's economic journey over the past few decades.
So Japan was this powerhouse in the decades following World War II.
Yeah.
They had this period of rapid economic growth, becoming a global leader in manufacturing and technology. Think Sony, Toyota, Nintendo brands that became synonymous with quality and innovation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then, as we mentioned earlier, that rapid growth slowed down,
Right.
leading to this period of economic stagnation,
Mhm.
often referred to as the lost decades.
Right.
And alongside this economic slowdown, Japan also experienced some significant demographic shifts, like a rapidly aging population
Yeah.
and shrinking workforce.
So fewer workers, less economic output, and a real struggle to jumpstart growth.
Precisely. It's against this backdrop
Yeah.
that the digital economy is being hailed as a potential solution to these deep-rooted economic challenges.
It's like trying to find a new engine for an old car.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And the hope is that the digital economy can increase productivity, foster innovation, and ultimately lead to renewed economic growth.
Right.
It's about doing more with less, optimizing operations and finding new markets.
But it's not as simple as just flipping a switch and going digital, is it?
You're absolutely right. Embracing the digital economy requires significant investment in infrastructure, education, and policy changes.
And this is where the role of government becomes crucial. To their credit, Japan's government has recognized the importance of the digital economy and has been implementing a number of initiatives to promote its growth.
They've launched programs to support startups, invested heavily in digital infrastructure, and even created special economic zones designed to attract foreign investment in technology-driven industries.
It sounds like a multi-pronged approach. Have they seen any results from these efforts?
There have been some promising developments.
Okay.
For example, Japan's e-commerce sector has seen significant growth in recent years.
Yeah, it's amazing how quickly consumer behavior can shift.
Yeah.
But it's not just about big companies and e-commerce giants, right?
Right.
The digital economy also creates opportunities for entrepreneurs and small businesses.
Absolutely. The digital economy lowers the barriers to entry,
Right.
making it easier for small businesses to compete on a global scale.
Uh-huh.
A small business in rural Japan can now reach customers all over the world through online platforms and social media.
It levels the playing field and creates a space where innovation and creativity can truly thrive.
Yeah. But I imagine there are still challenges.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the roadblocks Japan faces in its digital transformation?
One of the biggest is digital literacy.
Okay.
This refers to the skills and knowledge needed to effectively use digital technologies.
Right.
And it's essential for individuals and businesses to thrive in the digital age.
So we're talking about basic computer skills, understanding online security, navigating the world of social media and digital marketing,
Mm-hmm.
things that many of us might take for granted.
Exactly. But without these skills, it's difficult to fully participate in the digital economy.
Yeah.
Businesses might struggle to adapt and innovate,
Yikes.
and individuals might miss out on opportunities.
It's like trying to read a book in a language you don't understand.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And Japan's government recognizes this challenge. They're investing in programs to improve digital literacy, especially among older generations who might be less familiar with digital technologies. So they're offering things like free computer classes, workshops on online security, and even programs to help senior citizens use smartphones and social media.
Yeah, it's about empowering people of all ages to embrace the digital world.
And it's not just about technical skills.
Right.
It's also about fostering a culture of digital innovation and entrepreneurship.
It's about encouraging people to experiment, take risks, and become creators in the digital space.
Now let's bring it back to that question we posed earlier about the regional differences in Japan's digital landscape.
Yes.
You mentioned a few potential factors, but I'd like to add one more to the mix infrastructure.
Ah, yes. The digital pipes that make it all possible.
Right.
High-speed internet and reliable mobile networks.
They're crucial for anyone to participate in the digital economy.
Exactly. And this is where we often see disparities between urban and rural areas.
Okay.
In major cities like Tokyo and Osaka, you have widespread access to fiber optic internet and 5G mobile networks. But in more remote areas, the infrastructure may be less developed.
So it's like some regions are running on a superhighway while others are stuck on a dirt road.
That's a great way to visualize it.
Yeah.
This digital divide can create a significant disadvantage for businesses and individuals in those areas,
Mm-hmm.
limiting their ability to compete and grow.
So how do you bridge that digital divide?
Japan's government is working on it.
Mm-hmm.
They're investing in rural broadband infrastructure and promoting the development of mobile networks in underserved areas.
It's a long-term effort, but an important one if they want all regions of Japan to benefit from the digital economy.
Absolutely. Now, there's another important piece of this puzzle that we need to talk about: artificial intelligence.
AI, the technology that seems to be on everyone's mind these days.
Right.
It has the potential to be transformative,
Yeah.
but also raises a lot of questions.
Right. AI could revolutionize countless industries, from healthcare and transportation to manufacturing and finance.
Right.
But there are also ethical and societal questions that we need to consider.
One of the biggest concerns is the potential impact of AI on employment. If AI systems become more sophisticated, they could automate jobs currently done by humans.
Right.
It's the classic robots taking our jobs scenario.
It's a complex issue. And while AI could displace some jobs,
Hmm.
It's also likely to create new ones in areas like AI development, data analytics, and cybersecurity.
So it's like a seesaw with some jobs going down while others go up.
Hmm.
The challenge is making sure people have the skills to adapt to these shifts.
Precisely. And again, this is where education and training come in.
Yeah.
Japan is investing heavily in programs to develop AI talent. They're promoting STEM education in schools and offering specialized training programs for adults.
It's interesting that they're even exploring the idea of a basic income.
Yeah.
To help those who might be displaced by automation, it's a way of acknowledging that the digital economy is going to create winners and losers,
Hmm.
and that we need to find ways to support those who might be left behind.
It's a forward-thinking approach that recognizes the potential societal impacts of these technological advancements.
Right now, let's leap back to something we touched on earlier. Japan's strengths in robotics, a field that's closely intertwined with AI.
As we mentioned, Japan is a global leader in robotics, and robots already play a big role in industries like manufacturing, healthcare, and entertainment.
Right.
And with the advancements in AI, we're likely to see even more innovative applications of robotics in the years to come. Think of robots that can perform complex surgeries, assist with elder care, or even provide companionship. They can enhance our lives in so many ways.
It's both exciting and a little daunting to think about all the possibilities.
It is.
But of course, we have to be mindful of the ethical considerations as well.
Absolutely. As we delegate more tasks to robots and AI systems, we need to think about the implications for human autonomy, privacy, and safety.
Right.
It's about ensuring that these technologies are used responsibly and ethically in a way that benefits all of society.
It's about finding the right balance between technological advancement and human well-being.
Exactly. And this is where open and transparent dialogue becomes crucial. We need to have conversations about the ethical implications of AI, involving not just technologists and policymakers, but the public as well.
So it's about making sure that these technologies are developed and deployed in a way that aligns with our values as a society.
Now let's broaden our perspective and consider the global implications of Japan's digital transformation.
Okay.
Japan is a major player in the global economy,
Right.
and its success or failure in navigating the digital age will have ripple effects around the world.
It's like a digital domino effect. If Japan can leverage the digital economy to overcome its economic challenges and become a leader in AI and robotics, it could inspire other countries to follow suit.
But if they struggle, it could send a cautionary tale about the potential pitfalls.
It's a high-stakes game with a lot riding on the outcome.
And it's a reminder that the digital economy is not just a national issue.
Right.
It's a global phenomenon that requires international collaboration and cooperation.
Right.
We need to share best practices, learn from each other's mistakes, and work together to address the challenges.
It's about creating a shared vision for the digital future, one that's inclusive, sustainable, and benefits all of humanity.
Beautifully said. We've covered a lot of ground in this segment, from Japan's economic history and government initiatives to digital literacy, the rise of AI and robotics, and the global implications of their digital transformation.
And it's fascinating to see how all these pieces are interconnected. The digital economy is not just about technology, it's about people, policies, and the choices we make as a society.
It's about shaping the digital future we want to see, both in Japan and around the world.
And speaking of shaping the future, do you have another one of your thought-provoking questions for our listeners before we head into the final part of our deep dive?
I do. We've talked about the potential for AI to both create and displace jobs. So here's the question. What steps can governments and businesses take to ensure that the workforce is prepared for the jobs of the future in this rapidly evolving digital landscape?
That's a great question to ponder. We'll be back after a short break to explore that further and wrap up our exploration of Japan's digital future.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've been exploring, the complexities of Japan's digital economy, from its economic history and government initiatives to the rise of AI and, the potential impacts on the workforce.
It's a multifaceted journey with a lot of moving parts.
It is. And before we wrap up, I want to touch on one more crucial aspect that often gets overlooked in discussions about, technology and economics, culture.
That's a great point. Culture plays a huge role in shaping how a society adopts and adapts to new technologies. And Japan, with its rich and unique cultural heritage,
Right.
offers a fascinating case study.
Exactly. Japan has this long history of technological innovation,
Hmm.
but it also has certain cultural norms and values that could potentially impact how its digital transformation unfolds.
One example that comes to mind is the concept of wa, which emphasizes harmony and group consensus.
Right, it's about putting the needs of the group above individual desires. Yeah. Which can be a real strength in some contexts, but
Yeah.
could it also potentially hinder innovation,
Yeah.
which often requires individuals to challenge the status quo and think outside the box?
That's a key question.
Yeah.
Innovation often thrives in environments where individuals feel empowered to take risks and challenge conventional thinking.
Right.
So finding that balance between maintaining social harmony and fostering a spirit of individual creativity will be an interesting challenge for Japan.
It's like trying to blend tradition and disruption,
Right.
two forces that don't always see eye to eye.
Another cultural factor that could play a role is the Japanese emphasis on craftsmanship and attention to detail, often referred to as monozukuri.
This is evident in so many aspects of Japanese culture, from traditional arts and crafts to the precision engineering of their automobiles and electronics.
Yeah,
It's about striving for perfection and taking pride in the quality of one's work.
absolutely. And while this focus on quality and craftsmanship is undoubtedly a strength, it could also potentially lead to a more cautious approach to digital innovation. Right.
Right, which often requires a more iterative and experimental mindset.
It's like the difference between a master artisan meticulously crafting a piece of pottery and a software developer rapidly prototyping a new app.
Mm-hmm.
Both approaches have their merits, but they require different mindsets and skill sets.
Precisely. And this highlights the need for Japan to find a balance between its traditional cultural strengths and the demands of the digital age.
It's about adapting and evolving without losing sight of what makes Japanese culture unique and valuable.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up our deep dive, what does the future hold for Japan's digital economy?
Well, we've seen that Japan is facing some significant challenges: an aging population, slow economic growth, a need to boost productivity and innovation.
Mm-hmm.
But they also have a lot of strengths to draw upon: technological expertise, a strong work ethic, and a government committed to supporting the digital economy.
And let's not forget their unique culture, which, as we've discussed, presents both opportunities and potential hurdles.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It suggests that Japan's digital future is full of both promise and uncertainty.
it's right.
It's a journey with no clear roadmap, but one that will require creativity, adaptability, and a willingness to embrace new ideas.
It's a journey that will require Japan to leverage its strengths, address its weaknesses, and navigate that complex interplay between technology, culture, and society. And it's a journey that we'll be watching with great interest because Japan's success or failure in navigating the digital age will have ripple effects around the world.
It's a reminder that the digital economy is not just a national issue.
Right.
It's a global phenomenon that's shaping the future of all of us.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Japan's digital future. We hope you found it informative and thought-provoking.
And until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.